buy a lot of salad.
Okay, and sourdough cookies are pretty amazing. Think you about ready to get going, you think? All right, well, thank you all for coming out tonight. This is an exciting program that we're pretty excited about anyway, and I think it could be pretty exciting for our community. So my name is Eric Weir. I'm the city manager for the city. This is Jeff Lucas with Community Services.
Community Development Services.
Development Services, right? Which this is all about, right? Developing businesses, creating jobs. The city was fortunate enough that we went out and through the talented works of Bridget Lacey, the city council, we were able to acquire a $1.5 million CDBG grant for business development, for economic development. And then through that, we put out an RFP and selected Jeff and his company to help us facilitate this. And so this program is all about businesses and business loans, business development, job creation, job retention, and really opportunities for us as a community, as a city. I do believe that we're at a turning point in Crescent City right now. We have a lot of great developments that have started to occur. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of interest. You can tell by the interest in this room. You're going to see a lot of really great developments in Beachfront Park that are just starting to kick off with the tall cultural trail and a new amphitheater, waterfront plaza. You have the bike park. We have a downtown master plan going on right now as well. So those of you that are interested in that, please email us. There's also a website you can go to learn about the downtown master plans. We start to build this infrastructure. We start to build our community, and it's really about building it in a way that's uniquely Crescent City and meets the needs of our community and of the people here. And with that, I will turn it over to Jeff to tell you all about this program. And now hopefully this program can be a catalyst for that future. So with that, Jeff Lucas.
Thank you, Eric. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background on me and my company, and then we'll get into the program and what we hope to do here in Crescent City. So I'm from Lake County, country person. You can kind of tell by the way I dress. Most of the work that we do is in rural areas, small cities and counties, up and down the coast. This is about as far north as we come, though. It's kind of fun for us. We work down all the way down to Mono County, Bridgeport, all the smaller areas, doing programs like this. And we've been doing it about 35 years, I think. It's a family business. There's really 5 of us that do it. My son is my number 2 guy, and pretty soon, in a couple of years, maybe he'll let me retire. I don't know. So we've been doing these kinds of grant applications and loans for quite a while, and we're pretty successful. We're pretty low key, but the state of California and the Community Development Block Grant Program kind of rely on us to help get the funds out to small business. And I own a small business, and I do understand the ups and downs of operating a business. And I also understand the importance of financing. What I like about the CDBG program is that we have a lot of flexibility with it so that we can offer loans at 1% fixed rate. And instead of the going rate, which is 7 to 8 to 9%. With the program that we've worked with the city on, we're going to be able to, after a period of time, if the business creates jobs or retains jobs, which is a little more difficult, but it's mostly a job creation program, after a 3-month period, the loan principal can be forgiven. That's a pretty good deal. But the way we operate it is, because we want to make sure we're doing the best we can with the public funds, we want to make sure that the business is going to succeed with the money that we are lending to them. So we kind of have to go through the underwriting process like a bank does. So that's why we have all the papers we're going to go over today, and why it is we ask for that information. It's because the city wants to make sure that those businesses that are selected to receive the loans have a good chance of success and that those jobs are going to stay even after the 3-month period, because the program at the state level only requires that we have those jobs for a 1 quarter, the business. So you get a loan, for example, you hire a few people over time, maybe 3 to 6 months, takes time to hire people, maybe not right away. We come in and we take a look at where you're at with your payroll, and then 3 months later, take another snapshot of your payroll. If you've created 3 jobs, full-time jobs, then the debt's forgiven. It's a pretty good program. So we can also do it for job retention. But in that case, we have to show where the business would fail if not for the injection of the capital from the program. And that's a little bit harder. We're good at it. If we have a kernel of truth, we can build on it, but we can't just, it really has to be a risk that the business will go out of business without the funds. If we can show that, and I can feel with integrity that's the truth, then we can do those job retention deals. And if you can keep those jobs for 3 months after the loan, then the debt would be forgiven as well. So that is the gist of the program. That's sort of the heart of it. The other part of it is these funds are designed to help low and moderate income people. And the way the program does that is by hiring people or retaining people at jobs who are from low and moderate income households. So when we talk about that, I'm going to give you an example what that really means. For Del Norte County, that would be for a family of 1. Let's go with a family of 4. That would mean that individual's household could not have had more than $75,000 income to that household for a family of 4. For a family of 1, it's 56,000. So it's not that much of a barrier. A lot of the folks that we work with over the years, when they hire new people, they've either been unemployed or maybe they're part-time employed. So what we're trying to do is make sure that those folks meet this low to moderate income level. But I want to make sure you understand that it's not that difficult to do. We do have to make sure that we have the documentation on that. It's really easy. It's just a form that the individual fills out, saying I made approximately this amount of money, and that's it. So sometimes folks have a little bit of problem with that because it's sort of personal information, but we try to work with the employee and explain why it is we're asking for that information. Everything we do, we try to be as user friendly, and we're kind of on your side, so to speak. We explain things as best we can. We do follow the rules, but what we're trying to do is help our fellow small businesses succeed. And I really like this program. Sacramento's got a lot of bureaucrats that I think sometimes don't really understand how hard it is we work out here. Eric, but
Absolutely.
But once we get the money from them and we follow the rules, it works out pretty well. So far, do you have any questions for me yet?
I got one.
Okay,
On the income, is that before or after deductions if you're self-employed? Because
it's gross.
it's gross.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that also before your employee payroll?
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Would it be also for before your employee payroll?
For your employee payroll.
So business makes 100%, but employees are getting paid 75%. I get paid 25%.
Yeah. It's this requirement for the income level for the individuals. It's for the individuals that go to work for you, the business. It's not for you, the business. It's for the people that go to work.
Okay.
For you.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Easier.
Okay, sorry if I didn't make that clear.
Do the, sorry,
Yeah,
do the employees have to be from, Del Norte?
nope.
Okay.
They can, whoever you want to hire, from wherever.
Like Grants Pass, Brookings, just.
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah,
The business just has to be located in Del Mar County.
yes.
You said earlier when you were talking about the retention or the new employees, does it have to be three? You mentioned three, was that just an example or does it?
That's just an example, but I'm gonna elaborate a little bit more on that, okay? And I'll get to you next, sir, okay? So the way the jobs are measured and the amount of money you can get per job is one full-time job is 1,620 hours annually. Have we talked?
No.
Okay. Your voice sounded kind of familiar. So that means about 30 hours a week on average. That would be a full-time job. Okay? And for one full-time job, the business can receive $35,000 in loan funds. Now, we like to think in those terms because the state says if you receive maybe 20,000 in loan funds, you'd still have to hire one full-time equivalent, right? So you want to get the most bang for your buck. So we kind of work in terms of 35, 70, 105, kind of that way. So that's the value in dollars of hiring one person. It's 35,000. From wherever. They can be from wherever. Yes.
What about hiring employees remotely?
If they're employees, that's fine. As long as they're on a payroll and we can check the payroll, the hours and the wage. And it has to be for a full 3-month period at that full-time equivalent hourly pace. Okay?
What about seasonal work, like seasonal, like crabbing or?
Yeah, so many rural businesses are seasonal.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
either
But it guarantees.
ag and, yeah, so what okay. Couple ways to look at this. And they've given us some leeway because we've asked this question. You can time the loan so you do it when you've got the most employees. That 3-month period. Okay,
Right,
meet that goal, that criteria.
right,
Our job would then be to make sure you're gonna be around the next season to do the same
Right,
thing
yeah.
again, right?
yeah,
Because we don't want to just do a one-time thing and,
right,
right,
yeah,
'cause
yeah,
that doesn't help the community.
yeah,
Okay. But we can,
I think crabbing's one of the most profitable incomes in this county, you know, being one of them.
okay, so educate me, how long does that season go? How long?
It's 3 to 4 month season,
Okay,
maybe possibly 6, it just depends on January to June, but June 14th, January to June, 6 months,
okay, so 6
yeah,
months.
6 months,
Yeah,
yeah,
that will work, we could do that.
yeah,
Yeah, we can figure out a way to make it work.
okay,
Now,
cool.
see, we do a lot of ag stuff. And then a lot of tourism stuff too, which is cyclical, so you have those spikes and then it trails off. But they've given us some leeway on that. So because that's a big part of the economy here, we probably want to figure out a way to make that work.
Cool,
Okay?
yeah,
Okay.
You're starting a business and you are the employee.
Yeah, we can make that work, but you gotta be on a payroll. So as a sole proprietor, it makes it kind of tough, right? So in those cases, what we have to do is take a look at you as the business owner operator, also being an employee of the business, right? And so we have to take a look at your income level, your gross, and your family size, like we do for any employee. Okay? Now, the other thing I want to make sure I'm clear on the employee thing and the low income stuff is only 51% of the folks that are hired using these funds have to meet that low, moderate income criteria. So in other words, if you hire one, well, that's one. If you hire two, then you do, but if you hire three, then two of them have to meet that criteria, one of them does not. That's a state thing, I don't.
So if it's say it's a student or somebody and their father or their mother makes, together combined, $80,000. Does that go into the pot of the four? They're underage, they're a minor, they're just 19
Yeah, it's the household,
household, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
yeah, the family household, yes. Any
There
more
are
questions? So,
restrictions?
yeah,
Restrictions on hiring anyone related to you.
not with the program. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's the business's decision on family hires. It's worked out great with me, but I've seen situations where that doesn't work. I've seen situations where if they start out great, they're partners, and then they get a divorce, and it's because I think the stress of the business sometimes working all the time. I mean,
Just ask.
oh. So, any more questions for now? Okay. So, would you like to get it into the application and talk about it? It's really interesting. It's not that bad. So, I think you can see, do you guys have one, or are we gonna be really? Yeah, you do. Okay.
We ran on it. We could probably make some copies, I'm assuming. Anybody know
About 15, 20 shy.
15 foot, so I'm see what I can get. Sounds like it might need one to make copies. Yeah, it's off, I'll say I'm pretty on my.
So how many of you have looked at the application so far? Okay, and you stayed awake through the whole thing, did you? Go for it, yeah. Now, maybe it might be better. I want to try something different a little bit. When you were going through it, those of you who have, what did you see? What did you say? I don't know, why do you need that? Or I don't want to give you that, or this is a lot, or what? Any problems with it? You keep smiling, that makes me nervous. What's going on? Did you like it? I mean, are you okay with it?
Yeah,
Right,
perfect.
okay. You have any questions on it?
Not one.
Really?
None.
My question was like, oh my God, when's that second round? I don't know if I can be ready to do it, have it ready.
Oh, well, we're gonna help you. Okay, and we'll go through the application, but I want to make sure we understand this is a long-term deal that we're doing. We have signed up for, it's about 2.5 years, a little more with the city during the period of the grant. And it's not like we just come in and have a workshop and then leave you to try to fill the thing out and send it in, and then you don't really hear from us, and then all of a sudden we tell you yes or no or something like that. So it doesn't work like that. We also, the grant includes funds for us to work with. And it's not just me, there's other really good, competent people on my crew that you will end up talking to, and we're gonna be back up here quite a bit. And what we like to do is, and we have a series of interviews set up for tomorrow and then a few on Saturday. Bridget kind of tricked me on that Saturday.
You gotta watch her.
So if you have a problem with the application at any stage, you can send me an email. You can give me a call. Emails are best just because I'm handing out quite a bit and everything. And say, I don't understand this, or what do you want here? And I'll give you a ring and we'll talk it through. Okay? That'll help with some of the specific stuff. But there's also an overall readiness in regards to, like, if you're a startup, do you have a business plan? Have you thought through, have you worked with the Small Business Development Center folks or family or friends or somebody to help you come up with a real good business plan on how you're going to succeed? And then for me, because I like numbers. Have you done your forecasts? You know, your income and expense. I'm gonna make this much every month for the first year, this much every month for the next year of my new business. And here's what my expenses are gonna be. And at the end of the day, when I subtract those from what I've made, I'm gonna have this much to pay myself and pay back the loan if I'm. That's what we really want to understand, that you've thought all that through. That's the main thing, because if you haven't done that, you know, it's not, you don't, you haven't done your homework and figured out the best way to make your business succeed for yourself and then for any employees that you hire. So I just want to assure you that we will talk you through any part of that application, even if you don't have any problems. Because most people usually do.
She's cheating.
Did you give us your email yet?
Up there.
Okay.
But I'll give it to
Oh,
you. Yeah.
okay.
It's kind of a weird one. It's Jeff@cds.consulting. There's no .org or .net on it. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And the 1.5 million that you guys have is the total amount that you have to fund over the 2 years of the program.
That's the total grant amount. So there is some of those funds that were gonna go to Jeff and the administration of the program.
Okay.
But that's where we wanna have 2 rounds. This first round is gonna be $500,000, so $500,000 will be available in this first round. To see how it goes, right? Get that first round application in. If there are some other things people need to do, that's why we split it into 2 rounds. So that way there would be another round of funding, and then we'll have a better idea of how much time is still available with Jeff and his consulting. It kind of ebbs and flows. If we have, and I haven't run the numbers, but if you have over $35,000 loans, right? It's gonna take Jeff a lot of time to deal with each of those different individuals to get to that 500,000. You have a couple of bigger businesses that say have 5 employees that they can fund with 10 employees, right? Then that's 350. It's not gonna take as much time, so we'll have more advance to loan out on the second round.
And it was designed that way so that folks who may not be ready but don't want to, lose the opportunity, we can get started with them. Some of the applications will be already, and the business may be already existing and they're ready to expand, and this capital is going to help them do that and upgrade jobs. And those are the ones we'll want to get at first. And some of them won't quite be ready. I talked to somebody the other day. They weren't ready, but still wanted them to come here and hear about what it is we're doing so that they can start getting ready for the next one.
Then Jeff, the application that they have with them tonight, is this the full application or is this the pre-application?
What I think has been handed out is the full application. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so,
Borrow your shoes?
Yes.
so that's the full application, right? So now Monday's a very important day, right? Monday at 8 o'clock is when this portal opens. And this is on a first come, first served basis. So you can see there's quite a bit of demand. There's not going to be as much loan money as there is demand for it. And so it's first come, first served, 8 o'clock on Monday morning. But that's the pre-app that we want. The pre-app only has basic information, but that's going to set the order on which Jeff's going to look until he hits that magic number that he thinks, okay, this is about $500,000 in this first round.
Where's the pre-app?
So we will get to that.
Okay.
You wanna, it'll be posted on Monday.
Post on Monday. So if you go to the online version of it, so that's ccbusinessloan.com. There's a website that's already stood up there. So you can go there, you can find out some basic information. And then at 8 o'clock on Monday, that pre-app will become available. And then you can fill it out, submit it, it gets time stamped, and that's the order that we're gonna start to look at this. If you are technology challenged and prefer just a paper copy, they'll also be available at City Hall. And City Hall will have them, and you can fill them out by hand, and we'll time stamp them at City Hall. So that is 8 o'clock Monday. That's a very important piece of this whole thing. Then once you get that in, then Jeff will be able to actually help you walk through the full application and kind of go through some of these things. But the more you know ahead of time, the more you understand about being ready and being an applicant that we can actually fund in this first round, the better it's going to be for everybody.
Yeah. I also wanted to make sure you all know that we follow the rules. We've been around for a long time doing this. And we work with USDA, we work with banks, we work with a lot of different funding, financing organizations. And we always follow the rules. And so the rules kind of make it clear for us as we're going through the applications, what's going to work and what's not going to work. And so some of those things, I think we've kind of covered the purpose of the program and the loan amounts and so on. I want to clarify too, this 1% forgivable loan, if it takes longer or you need more time to create those jobs that we're talking about to get the forgiveness, we're not going to start seeking repayment. We'll give you a grace period. But if it turns out that you can't create the jobs, then there is a repayment that's going to have to start. And we'll work those out on individual plans with each business. There's also a need for some collateral. Now the program's nice because usually a bank will say, okay, we're going to do a loan for you, but you need to put up your house or some other real property or something. But this program is will accept what they call a lien on your equipment, your inventory, those kinds of things that are considered pretty light in a bank environment. We'll also absolutely require a personal loan. Got to have that because the traditional security and collateral is not as strong as what a bank would require. That's part of the program. That personal guarantee is essential to us. And that's your integrity and on the line there. So I just want to make sure that's clear to everybody.
And this is why it's so important to have that business plan, vet the numbers out, work with Jeff. The last thing the city wants in any of this is for any business to fail, right? And then everybody's just in a bad situation. So we want to make sure that you're going to be able to meet the requirements of this so you can be successful, so you can get this money, so it can be forgiven, right? And your business can succeed.
That's well said. Yes.
How much of a personal loan? Like, does your personal loan have to cover the whole amount you're requesting or?
The guarantee?
Yeah,
Yeah, you are personally guaranteeing that you will repay the debt, whether it's 35 or 70 or whatever it is.
so if you're putting your house up, it has to be worth as much as,
We're not going to ask you to put your house up. That's the point.
okay.
The point is we're not going to ask for your house. We're gonna make sure you do this. The personal loan guarantee. Now, banks require that blanket all the time. I just want to make sure I stress that's really important to this program because we're not asking for you to put up your house usually. Okay? Especially for 35,000 or 70. Chances are we'd be in a second lien position and that's funky anyway. We have to take out the first and it's a mess. So we just want to make sure that I want to make sure you know this, it's a personal guarantee is required. So,
Job creation for that 3-month period, right? I mean, that's kind of the crux of this, but
Yeah.
making sure that plan is solid so you can succeed. That's what Jeff's been tasked with. Don't let the city be hanging with a bunch of these loans, right? That people now are have to
yeah,
try to deal with. And
Is there like a personal credit score that you guys are looking for as well?
yeah. We are gonna we ask that you allow us to do that and then we run a credit check on you using the 3 sources. And it's a pretty detailed credit history. It's not just the number. It's like your credit history. And if we have concerns or questions, we're going to talk to you about it. A lot of times we see people who are good people, maybe they had some high medical costs. That happens these days a lot. And they kind of got stuck. they couldn't pay it, insurance wouldn't, cover it. And in those cases, if everything else in the loan makes sense, we'll make sure that we communicate that in our loan proposal to the loan committee, so they understand that, well, there's a, the number's not where we want it to be, 600 or so or more, this is why. So, yeah, we, because that, your credit history tells us what's gonna happen in the future, right? So we covered the jobs, I think. Oh, and the use of funds. You can use the funds for purchase equipment, inventory, real property. Working capital, debt consolidations. So one of my favorite things to do with this money is to use that 1% rate money and take out your credit cards that you've used for the business or any other higher interest debt. Because that high interest debt, you're just paying all these payments and you're still ending up practically at the end with that principal amount unchanged. Right? And that's not helping you. You can't hardly get out of that kind of hole sometimes. So these funds are really good for that. Okay, yes.
So are you gonna just give it to anybody that's like the chances of the company or whatever business they're gonna start? Are you gonna try to see the odds of that company succeeding, or are you just gonna see the chance of that company succeeding? And does anybody kind of get the loan to get an opportunity to try a business? Are you gonna look at the odds of the business succeeding?
Okay, yeah.
Is anybody just gonna be able to get it?
So would we fund a startup business that it doesn't have history, right? Is that what you're
Right,
asking?
yeah, like yeah.
Yes, provided that we work with you or you work with the SBEC people. Well, I'm more trusting in my crew to work with you on that business plan to make sure that you've done your homework and that you've done everything you possibly can to make sure your business is going to succeed.
Cool.
And that you spent time doing those forecasts we talked about, monthly forecasts. I'm going to make this much of it. And if you're in this crabby,
Yeah,
okay, so what are you gonna do? You get 6 months, everything's gonna be good. You're gonna have cash flow. Next 6 months, no.
well, no, there's tuna fishing, and there's other fishing.
Okay.
Up into there's not just crab, and there's tuna, which is I mean, there's other. I'm not talking about just my personal business. I'm just talking about as this loan that from or this grant as a whole. You know what I mean? Is it gonna get? Are they gonna look at it as what's gonna make do for our county and make it better, or is it just anybody gonna be able to get the loan and give them a chance?
Give it to businesses that are already established, that have, a big crew. Or like say, if I wanna start a business and then I hire 2 or 3 people, then the odds of me doing it with my business plan versus someone that's already established that has 3 or 4 businesses in the area, the likelihood of me grabbing one, because it's for stimulating the economy, filling the empty building, right? Pouring it into an already full pot, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, not even so much that, just, yeah, but yeah, kind of like that, you know what I mean? Just see the odds of the start business succeeding.
So-
That's all my question was, but you answered it for me.
Okay, so I don't know why anybody going into business wouldn't do their homework.
Right,
Absolutely gotta do your homework, man.
yeah,
And I started my own business after working 10 years in the public sector for the Office of Education. I ran the job training office. And I thought I was real smart. I didn't know anything about running a business. And that was a hard lesson because I didn't do my homework. And I hate to see other people, borrow money, be it from a bank or friends or whatever, not have thought this thing through
right,
and had people help them
right.
think it through. That's okay.
But sort of how it's gonna work, Jeff, just for clarity on big business versus small business, because they come in all different sizes and shapes with different employees and different needs as far as capital goes. So the portal opens up at 8 o'clock on Monday. You get your pre-app in. They're gonna start to then stack in order of receipt. As Jeff then goes through, he's gonna take a look at the first one and say it's your business and you don't have any business history, right? But you wanna hire 2 employees. So I'm assuming you want the max amount for those, so that would be up to $70,000. Jeff's gonna then say, okay, this is the first one, gonna look through it, maybe contact you, say, okay, right, she's got a business plan, right? This business looks like it's going to succeed. then you would be the first on the list to get funded based on your business plan and based on the fact that you can succeed with it. Then you might have a bigger business that happens to be number two. If they have a business plan that looks like they can succeed and create the jobs, right? Okay, then they're number two, and it starts to then stack in. You have a third business, they want 3 jobs, their business plan doesn't pencil, right? Jeff might work with them for a little bit, try to get the questions answered that he needs. If it doesn't pencil, sorry, right? You need to do a little bit more homework, right? Maybe round 2 is gonna be best for you. Then it goes to the fourth. Maybe then the fourth is your business, right? And then all the way till we get to that full amount of the 500,000. That's at least my understanding. Jeff, is that?
Well, you're the boss, so I figured that's how it's gonna go. Seriously though, that's a great
That's a great way to do it.
description of how we'll do it.
And round 2, you're starting blank again, correct?
Yeah.
You don't pick up on the previous applicants.
Well, there may be some carryovers and hopefully if we've done our job working with them, they'll be ready, and then we would open it up again.
And then Jeff, one question in the chat looks like the question is there a preference for veterans?
There's not really a preference in the program.
Just is the business going to succeed or not? And
Yeah.
first come, first
Yeah.
serve is really how it.
Out of the merit of the business.
What if there's so many people and you can't keep a timeline?
So that is a fear that we have, and so we have, we've been talking to IT, in fact, he's running, getting more copies right now. But, they tested it, they know that we're gonna have an influx at 8 o'clock. They think it's gonna work. Right, so hope is a strategy at this point, and
How is it going to be released?
as far
At
as.
8 o'clock, the application will be available and then we have to type fast.
Yep.
Copy of our business plan at that time.
No, the pre-application is pretty straightforward. It's basic information, right? That you should be able to fill out fairly fast. But the
Yeah,
business,
reservation.
that pre-application in advance so we can prepare ourselves?
no,
It's
basic.
it's not the whole set.
Question.
It's basic.
Getting the.
Yes, it's not the full application. It's a basic, yeah, what are you, who are you? What's your business? What are you gonna do?
What if you have multiple businesses?
Pardon me?
If you have multiple businesses, you do one application for the one business and then get back in and do one for your second business and then your third business.
Hypothetically, you could. It depends on, again, the cash flow for the business and the job creation and all
Existing
yeah,
for years, so.
Yeah.
So if you have 5 businesses, you can apply 5 times with 5 applications.
you could.
How fast you're typing.
Is there a way to state maybe a lesser amount than 35K if like your needs are not that exorbitant as far as like that range? Like let's say like you just need it for a truck repair, or you know what I mean, for a couple months of groceries or something.
Yes, absolutely. And I appreciate the question. I do. That's good thinking because why take on more debt even if it can be forgiven if you don't have, if you don't. The thing with the program is though, even if you only applied for 10,000, that's all you need. You still have to create that one full-time equivalent job. Even though it's not the full 35,000. And we've argued this out with them at the state and they won't budge with us. Our thinking was, well, if you borrow like 10 or 15, maybe just a part-time job, they won't let us do it. So the problem is you borrow 10, you still have to create that full-time equivalent job.
Does that just apply in the retention category?
And it also applies to in the retention category.
Okay.
Yeah.
One question. What if you have 2 part-time guys?
You can add them and make one full-time.
Okay.
Perfect, great, okay. And that's a lot of what people do, especially in the tourism industry and even in ag. Yeah. So if you take 2 part-timers and add their total hours together and it gets us to that 15, 20, that number. Wow. So you got 2 people that work 15 hours a week and that would be 30, right? Perfect. So that would work. Yep.
And there's no, you had a lot of interest here, which is wonderful, really, to think about it. Great sign for the city and potential in the future, but not a lot of money, big picture, when you look at all these people. No option, I know you have two runs for funding, but no options for increasing that fund pool. That's not an option outside. Government's not happy with that thought.
Well, this grant, we applied for the maximum, and received it at the 1.5 million. Now, some of that does need to go towards the assistance to Jeff running the program and whatnot. But we're anticipating around 1.1, maybe 1.2 million, somewhere in that range to be available for loans. This first round will be 500,000. The next round will be the remaining portion once we get a better handle on it. And then there's options to then apply again.
And I since that question's been asked, just elaborate on it a little bit. Would that be all right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So such high demand that I'm seeing in this room is extraordinary. It means there's a lot of demand and interest in the program, and there's probably some pretty good deals out here that we can do. Great. But what's going to happen is probably the demand is going to exceed the capacity. Okay. So that's not so good for the people that don't get funded. But if we kind of flip it a little bit and look at it, just yesterday, the state said, okay, we finally got ready. We're going to open up a new application cycle. And that'll be September 30th, they say.
Yeah.
The state's late on everything. So if they open it up on the 30th, that would mean if the city wants to, I know there's many other needs in the city. Eric, I know you balance and juggle that all the time. But if the city council said, well, gee, there was good demand and it seems to be a good program. If we apply in this next round coming up, that money could potentially be available. It takes about 9 months to go through that whole process for the new money to come in. So it could be, where we get these funds rolling out, the state sees that, and then we make application, and those have to be submitted June 30th of 2026.
And that NOFA actually, so the notice of funding availability actually comes out on the 30th, right?
Of this month,
Of
yeah.
this month, and so that's when we'll know the new rules, so CDBG, which is what's funding this Community Development Block Grant, right? Tons of acronyms all over the place, but they're changing the rules on a lot of these different funds, so and so sometimes they require that you spend 50% of your current grant before you can apply, so I don't know if that's changed or not. That was an older rule.
That's still going to be the rule, but depending on if Bridget keeps running this thing, she works us pretty hard. I bet you we could get the money up pretty fast. I mean, it would be awesome if we could.
Yeah.
So we would like to. I mean, I'm over speaking.
No, whether it be in this next round or whether it be in a future round, yes, this demand, we want to meet this demand. This demand is a need for the community. These programs are about meeting that need for the community. Business growth, job creation, that's what this community needs. That brings an additional revenue for everyone, right? I mean, that's a successful program.
Okay, so I think it'd be cool, because if we can show by the time the application is due on, the end of this next January, the 20th, okay, that we have a whole bunch of loans that are being funded. That would look really, really good and set you up. You got a good history with the CDBG program already, so.
And the second round is prior to that June, so you wouldn't have to up your 500,000 to get to the halfway mark that you distributed.
Well, the schedule we could modify the schedule depending on the demand and how fast we get these
So you
things
could
done
increase your
and
first round.
and get the money out.
Absolutely.
It'd be
I
terrible.
mean, we're
to lose it.
not just going, oh, it's gonna be like this and like that. It's good. It's a lot of it is driven by you all. So that means
What if you spend it all on your startup? What if you spend the majority on it, like, let's say 85%, 90% of it on on the startup?
On the first phase, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, just as you, if you get the loan, if you spend the majority of it on it.
Well,
On
if
your
you-
startup,
The,
equipment or whatever you need. Like,
so the,
instead of just half, you know what I mean, what if you
So-
spend
so-
a lot of it?
so the faster we get the money out overall to the community, the better we are positioned to access more money for the program. Okay, for you individually, however you use the money is however you use the money, as long as it's with what we just talked about.
Hopefully meet your full need. Right.
Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
They still have
So-
to hire people.
you still have to hire people, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're not understanding.
So I'm following this correctly, that if the productivity is maxed out and like the 1.5 million is used up and allocated. Are you guys saying that that has a way of steamrolling into more grants? You know, with that amount or more for that community based upon the productivity of the grant? Yes?
Could be.
Short? Yeah, okay.
Absolutely, it helps.
Yeah, it
Okay.
helps.
It's a big deal to get, and what Eric was talking about, this 50% rule, they say like, you're applying for more money, city of Crescent City, you're actually asking for more money, you haven't spent the money that we gave you. But if you spent it, they go, oh yeah, you're spending it, that's good, we were trying to get the money out, we want to get the money out, that's our job. So if we do that, and that wouldn't just be us, that'd be you guys, you know, getting good applications in and, you know, doing what you need to do on your end and kind of hustling a little bit too. Okay.
What's the timeline for the, like, grant funding and then second round and?
Well, so currently with this program, we've been awarded, we have the funds, and so application for this first round opens on Monday. Get the pre-apps in, so then Jeff's gonna have, looks like you're gonna have a lot of pre-apps to get.
No, I need a lot of coffee.
So what do you think the timing is on that, Jeff, that window and when people might start to hear and when we, you know, might get to the 500,000 for the first round?
My goal is, because I have a feeling you guys are all gonna jump on this. We're gonna get a bunch of pre-apps and a bunch of, so at the end of, okay, so Monday, the following Monday, I'm gonna be reporting to you and Bridget on what I'm seeing and where we're at and what I think the demand is and what's looking like we have deals. And then go to the next phase of getting the full applications after but we have to decide that. Now, there's gonna be decision time in between what I'm seeing and kind of reporting to you.
And then contacting the people, all right, trying to vet some of the.
And then yeah.
It's gonna take a little bit on that, is just my past experience with it, and
We've worked on loans for like 6 months. We've worked on bigger loans, because we do bigger loans too, for like a year before they get done. And then we've done other ones where we can get them done in like 3 weeks. Just depends on how much we get from you guys. Yes, sir.
To maybe expand on what Eric started to talk about, a vetting process, and I think it's probably on the mind of everybody here. In that, obviously, you're gonna receive a bunch of applications. What's gonna be that dead red? Okay, that one goes to the side. I mean, you're gonna get all these applications with this basic information. Obviously, you're not gonna be able to handle everything today. There's probably not enough money in the room. What is that dead red thing?
What is the?
as you're, you know, as all these applications.
Yeah, we're automatically disqualified.
What would disqualify you?
Yeah.
Or the thing that you just look at, you're like, man, that's a good thing.
You're
gonna look at experiences people have.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. But
Sorry, I was just.
yeah, I know.
Trying.
We were. So. If you haven't paid your taxes, we can't work with you. Okay, if you unless you have some kind of payment plan. If you haven't paid taxes, it's hard. We probably can't do that now. If you haven't, if you're a startup and you haven't worked on some kind of a business plan and done some forecasted work, that means we're gonna need more time with you, and that'll postpone access to capital. It won't stop you, but that'll slow that down, so it probably wouldn't make the first round. If you're an existing business, and there's any issues, any legal issues or problems, that could stop us.
So like
But
if somebody has a criminal record, that's probably what they're wondering, somebody's wondering. If you have any kind of criminal record or felony or something.
yeah, that doesn't help.
Okay,
It doesn't.
I don't, but I'm just,
Yeah.
some people, you know.
It doesn't, but it
I'm
doesn't.
getting to need somebody.
You asked a really good question. I'm not trying to evade the answer. I'm not. But when we look at this stuff, we have 5 things we look for as lenders, you know, your collateral and the economy and your experience and what are you bringing to the table? What are you going to be contributing? What have you done in the past that relates to what you're doing now on the business? And then if it, you know, as a loan, are you going to be able to pay us back? And if you're not, what do you have to offer in lieu of that, the collateral? Those are the fundamentals that we look at. We also look for, did you complete, even if it's pre-app, did you fill it out completely? Did you spend a little time on the darn thing before you send it in? That's a lot, because we get applications where people, like even the full application, they don't answer the questions. It's like, oh, I'll just get this thing in and then I'll worry about it later. That won't work, because then I get it and I have to send it back and say, you need to send me all the rest of this stuff. So that's an important part.
Well, and therein lies the portal opening process, is you can bet that not 100% of people are gonna stand there in line or get online so much worried about missing that lineup that of course mistakes are gonna be made and stuff's gonna be omitted just from the procedural process. Don't you agree?
Well, hopefully the pre-application's been pared down to the point where it's really fundamental information that we're looking for.
We don't know because we haven't seen it, so it won't be available till 8 o'clock Monday morning. So my thought is okay, you have 20 people standing in line waiting for City Hall to open at 8 o'clock, or people trying to access the portal at the same time. So what actually gets time stamped through what if you've got paper coming in this side that if people give me my application so I can fill it out, because I want to make sure it's right, but also I want to make sure I get it in so I don't get knocked out.
So it's a good question on both the completeness side of it, which is your real question. And then on City Hall actually opens at 7:30. And so we're gonna have everybody come in and there'll be kind of like a lineup basically. And so there'll be a table and everybody's got an upside down application. So this is the process we talked about. And you're gonna have Heather there and it's gonna be 8 o'clock, flip them over, start filling them out. And when you're done, right, she'll come and stamp them. So there'll be Heather, I do feel for Heather. You know, you might know what she's getting into. I think she'd be more petrified if she saw this room. But we're not going to tell her about that. And then, so you're going to have that, right? And so as they get all the applications in, so then Jeff, as you're working your way through that, so I think then we get our list and it's all chronologically for the stamp. Then as you run down through, you're going to call these people, right? You're going to look at it. Okay, it's complete. As far as the pre-app goes, you're going to call them, say, I need you to submit a regular application or full application.
After we discuss what I'm seeing and, you know, we're not gonna do anything without communicating with you and Bridget what's happening. But yes, that's the next step.
So we're gonna run through, right, kind of get to the point we think, okay, this is the first initial group that fills out basically the $500,000. We're gonna then turn around, ask them to fill out the full application. Then at that point in time, you'll be working with Jeff to try to get that complete. We're going to try to do what we can to make sure that your application is complete, that it's fully vetted. But you do have to be ready for this loan so we can proceed with this process. So that's gonna be sort of the case. If there's some of these red flags at that point, right? We'll try to get the information from you. If it's not there, then at that point, we're gonna go on to the next one.
Are you going to ask us in the pre-app how much we are hoping to get as a loan? And is there any preference? Like, I would happily take 35. However, I could take more. Is there a preference on? Like, if I put in that I would like $500,000, so that you're gonna go, oh, no, okay, can't do that, or if I under ask,
Yeah.
is that a problem?
I would think you just need to ask what you actually, need, and more importantly, can support with job creation or retention. That's gonna be the main thing. So, right, don't ask for 500,000 if you can really only support one job, right?
Yeah, and I know there's all this, oh, it's a funnel, people want it and they're gonna be funneled through, and I think the city tried to set it up as best they could to make it fair. But to your question, maybe don't think about the time and getting your foot in the door and all that for a second. Just think about, what do I really need? What do I really need? How much am I really needing for my business, for what I want to do, for the success I can reasonably and practically achieve? What that number is what that number is. And Eric said, will I be able to create a full-time job if it's 35,000, or 2 if it's 7?
I just was wondering if there's any preference in more or less, asking for more or less.
No.
Let me ask you a corollary. Let's say you ask for X, but you determine that you can give half of X and you like the application. Is that something you would move forward with? In other words, if you do request too much, are you kicked out because it doesn't make sense for the program?
No, you're not kicked out, and yes.
Like, you can counteroffer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how long do they have to keep the employees for? Once, just 3 months? School?
Yeah. And that goes back to, I want to kind of go over this again. The program only requires 1 quarter of paper. Let's say you get a loan and for 35,000 and you hire 1 person. You ring us up and say, okay, I hired a guy, I hired a gal, and they're on the payroll now. Okay. And we check to see what that individual's income level is, make sure they're in that low moderate income. Okay, we do that homework, we have those papers. 3 months later, we're gonna say, because we keep files, is that person still there? Did you hire somebody else? Is the job still filled? And you say, yes, it is. And we say, we need your payroll from the day that person started to now, that 3-month period. Send us that payroll, and then we let the city know, and then the debt can be forgiven, will be forgiven.
What about if you have an employee that you hire and a month and a half into it, that employee is not working out? So long as the spot's filled,
yes,
you can show it on payroll.
Yes, we're not going to tell you got to keep somebody that's not working out. That's up to you. That's not, you don't.
As long as that spot's.
As long as it's
show it on
a
payroll.
person in there, and you can say Joe worked from here to here, but it didn't work out, and then we hired Bill, and he's good, and that position has been filled that period of time.
Are you gonna try to make sure that the businesses like stay afloat for at least past longer than the 3 months, so that way they don't just get the loan, shut down shop after 3 months, and then all of a sudden they just pocket all the money and not even generate any income from the city? Or are you guys gonna try to?
Yes, and that's the whole idea
Right.
behind making it a loan instead of just giving money out.
Right.
We got to go through this application process so that we can do our homework and give the business and the city the highest and best chance that the business is going to succeed and keep the job for the long haul. Yeah. Yes.
I noticed on the construction, if you're getting, say, a lot and you need to clear it, you have to pay prevailing wage. Is that
Yeah.
the law?
Yeah.
So you can do that for 3 months and then the construction center, we can put a different then you're ready to hire a real employee for which the business is.
So I want to back up and get into this construction thing for just a second now. Answer some of it. So on construction, if you use these funds, they're federal funds, you'll have whoever hires that person to do the contractor that hires the laborer or carpenter or the electrician, they have to pay union wages. And those wages for us are set in San Francisco.
Oh,
that's the region.
Oh, right.
So that's Davis-Bacon labor law, which I know Eric knows all about, because those government funds, those federal funds require that. So if you said, Jeff, I need 30,000 to make these improvements, and that's your budget's going to be 60 if you use these funds for that, because the wage that you're going to be paying is going to be twice as much as what the local would be. Okay, so you see, it doesn't make any business sense to use it for that purpose. So that's why we don't, I mean, you can, but it doesn't make a lot of sense, especially for a small business. That's why we focus on inventory, working capital, equipment, taking out other high interest debt to reduce your debt load. Yeah.
I'm wondering how much time we have to hire someone. So let's say the funding is on, let's just say this January for simplicity. And now it takes a little while to get things going and find the right guy, and I don't hire someone until April.
Okay. Just take a second, but it's a great question. And it's the stuff we have to balance on our end. So the grant goes for, I'm going to say 2.5 years. Yeah. Okay. During the period of 2.5 years is when we have the time to get all the money out. And we want to get it out way faster than that, but that's the time we have. And for you to create the job to meet the requirement for the city's grant. So what that means is the sooner we get the money out, the more time you have to create the jobs.
Oh, okay, so there can be a delay, I get it.
Yeah, it's not like, here's $35,000, sign all these papers and forms, and then go hire somebody tomorrow. That doesn't hardly ever happen. You have time, but what's going to happen is the further into the life of the grant period, the less time we all have to create those jobs. So if you got a loan and there were only 3 months left, we would want you to create those jobs in 3 months, like right now. So that's why we're all about, let's get this thing going, get the money out, so it gives you more time to create the jobs.
Thank
Does
you.
that answer it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And how much is our monthly payment while we're?
Nothing.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, huh? There's no payment. Unless if you don't meet the job creation requirement, then there's a payment.
And that's at the end of the 2.5 years.
Yeah,
If you haven't met it by then, that's when the payments will start.
thank you.
Thank you.
But we want to do it, see, we want to do it in 3 months. We want to get that quarter.
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
well, I don't bug you anymore for paper and, you know? Yes, sir.
What about a commission-based business? Is that allowed in this grant process?
It is, but you still need to hire employees, so if they're commission based and they're not employees, what are they, 99s, what are they? Yeah, I can't count them. I'm sorry, I can't count them. I wish I could.
So, in my example, so if we're producing a product and we're selling that product and you're the one that produced it, so you get the profit from that thing. So you are on a commission base. I can't pay you by the hour. So that's not allowed within this.
I will ask again about that. I'm happy to do it. In the past, they've said no. And that's where I'm at right now. But when things like this come up, I keep notes and I call and
ask your son for clarity.
No, I asked the state for clarity, which is like, I don't know what the analogy would be there. But I will. And if it's possible, we'll let you know.
We go through the process, receive the loan, get to the forgivable part, is the forgivable, part of that considered taxable income at that point?
Yeah, I think it is. Because you received it. Yeah.
Also tax deductible, you're paying out for your employee. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's structured as a loan. And I'll be a very flexible deal. But you still receive income. And you're not paying it back, so it's not a liability on the other side, sorry.
It's not,
But-
it's considered income tax time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if you get $70,000, you made $70,000, you better have some stuff against it.
But not till the end of the 2.5 years.
No, no, when you file your taxes.
Yeah,
That year.
when you, in the
Oh.
year that you receive
And you
the,
receive it,
Yes.
okay.
the money,
It's
yeah.
income for
At the
you,
end of that year, when you file your taxes.
once it's forgiven.
Oh, that's what I mean. So once it's forgiven, not until then.
But it's gonna be forgiven theoretically as soon
Yeah,
as.
so,
Yeah.
yeah,
3 months, okay,
Yeah,
I get it.
so-
Okay, now I get it.
Trust me, you'll probably, if you're starting something new, you're not gonna make a lot of money in the first year likely anyway, so it won't probably hurt you that.
if you're already established, it might be a totally different thing.
Oh, Lord.
I don't think, can nonprofits go through this?
This program is set up for for-profit businesses.
Only?
Yep,
Yeah.
Oh,
Say that again?
for profit only.
For profit. Yeah, this is a business loan. But if, I'm happy to talk about other stuff that might be worthwhile. If you're a nonprofit.
yeah, we're a nonprofit.
I wouldn't mind.
You're hurting all over the place. Yes,
Is it a one-time deal or is it something that you could do again later to maybe expand the business?
it's not a one-time deal. Unless, I mean, if, it's like a relationship, you know, if you apply and everything's straightforward and then you do what you have agreed to do. And hire people and the community benefits and everything's on the up and up. Then, yeah, you can apply again because it's really. The banks like to say we have a relationship, you know, and we like to say that too, because it's not just like, here's the money and see you later kind of thing.
Cool. Thank you.
Hey, Eric, I got a question for you. I know people that applied already for this on your last round when you did it before. Are they eligible for this?
It would be, I don't think there's anything precluding that. So, yeah, just
Perfect.
like what Jeff said, as long as,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I'm.
yeah, as long as everything's in order, should be good. But yeah, this is our second time doing a program like this. The first time was successful. And so that's where we went out and tried to get it, another loan and able to bring Jeff in, and hopefully this one's even more streamlined. The last one was right in the middle of COVID and there were some different rules and whatnot, so.
Oh, man, yeah.
This worked.
That was a period.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Do you need a business plan? If you're an already established business, do you want one showing why they want the money? Or do you just, like a totally blown out business plan like you would if you were starting fresh?
I would like to know why you want to use the money. I would like to understand your business. I would like a history. This is when we started. This is what we do. This is how we make money. This is our, I mean, not a full-fledged business plan, but educate me on how your business works so I can understand it. And then I can communicate it to the loan committee, what it is and how it's going to work and how you're going to end up hiring more people.
Is the loan committee somebody that you work with or is it somebody?
It's gonna be through the
Okay.
city, so normally it's,
So the city,
like somebody from our finance department, Bridget might sit on it, we might bring somebody as an outside banker, somebody like that, right? That can look at this somewhat from an independent view and say, okay, yes, we see what Jeff is seeing here, we see why he thinks this is good, this meets all the criteria. And then the money's flowing.
Okay, because I know how it was done last year, so that's kind of.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty close.
Yeah, your business plan, you don't need a business plan, but I do need to understand your business, how it works. And that, you provided me with your past 3 years tax return. Because that history is gonna tell me what's gonna happen going forward.
If you purchased a business and you don't personally have tax returns for the business.
Uh-oh.
Well, I have run it, they have, and I've seen bits and pieces, but they also, were purposely taking a big deduction. on the
Yeah.
business.
So then how, okay,
That's a bad.
how do we, you and I know?
Like forecast modeling, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
Forecasting.
okay, so if you're purchasing a business. Have you purchased that business? Are you have? So we'll just go forward with your forecast. But it would really be great to see what it was doing at least the past couple of years.
What if that's really bad? Like, that's why you got such a good deal on this business.
Okay.
Then I would be doing a
Okay.
whole business plan.
So a lot of times people will go in and they'll buy a restaurant or a restaurant business and they're gonna say, we're gonna be 100 times more efficient or our food's gonna be better and so on and so forth. There's only so far you can take that model, you know. So knowing what they did, whether it was really bad or not, is helpful to the understanding. And then you telling us why it's gonna be better and how you're gonna make it better is really important. Because otherwise, it's like, oh my goodness, how's this thing gonna cash flow and create those jobs? And so that's the kind of thing that when we get to working together, we want to talk through and really kind of drill down.
I think we left off with the phone about whether these funds are received, they need to stay in a separate account from all your other finances. And I think I may have forgotten your answer. As far as if you did receive funds, that if that way you could easily prove it by it only having those transactions to do with those funds or whatever.
So I think you're asking for like proof of use of funds.
Well, yeah, and then just keeping like that separate from all your other finances so that you're not. I don't know if it. I'm just asking if it needed to be.
All we would want to do is make sure that what you asked for, like you said, I need this equipment and it's $35,000 and it does whatever it is. And that you actually use the money for that purpose.
Okay.
So if you have a receipt or something like that, you don't need to keep the money separate, kind of a separate account or anything. Just show us that you use the money as you intended to use it, as you said you would use it.
Okay.
In the application, whether it was to pay out credit cards or buy equipment or.
Yeah, I think that's just to get it clear in my head as far as like a third party banker thing, like you're saying, like maybe as far as like looking at the books or something.
Well, that's more on our side, is from a city side, so we'll have this loan committee, basically, and then we're gonna take a look at all of Jeff's work real quick, we're gonna take an independent look to make sure it meets the grant criteria. And then it's gonna be pretty quick, just does all these things check the box. Yes, great, then that's another, just another sign off from the grant side of things, so that's just on our side.
Okay, it's on the other side.
Yeah.
Is it confidential or can you look later, like at the last, with other businesses? But businesses in town applied for grants and stuff years ago and you can see how much they received. Is this confidential? Or is, are people able to look to see where that money was funded and what businesses?
Have to, don't.
That would be excellent, but I'm gonna say that whatever you send to us.
Oh, that obviously would be, but could you see how you disperse like, oh, ALC got this or?
Yes.
Yeah, so it is public.
On that side, but not a lot of like the details of the
Obviously.
business plan or anything like that, but eventually there will be an agreement with the city for the loan.
Like
You
in
would be
this-
able to see how much was loaned, right, to the business. We funded 9 businesses last.
Right.
Realistically, from Monday morning, what's your total time expectation before you start funding loans, roughly speaking? I know you kind of asked the general process, but.
I believe everybody here is gonna provide very complete applications.
Oh, you are so silly.
Realistically, I would really like to see us start actually approving loans at least 3 months from like today. That's, and I'm not trying to just be flippant, but it really is dependent on how much you give us, but we're gonna focus on it. This is a kind of a priority thing. So we can do that. Yes, sir.
The other question that I'd like to know is, upon approval, what's the timeline for actual funding?
Go ahead, Jeff. on that.
So, we go to committee, the committee says, yeah, okay, fund it. Then we let you know, and we say, these are the conditions, and we tell you what those conditions are early on. The committee may add a condition or something, but usually it's pretty much what we said. Then, we'll say, we'll prepare the documents. It takes us about a week to prepare them in-house. They're the same thing that bank use. It's called Laser Pro stuff.
I'm just
And
curious,
then,
Cause approval time to funding during the EIDL process was 5.5 months, so.
yeah, no. We were involved with that process with the SBA and the PPP, and I no, this is not that. That was excruciating. What we will do is prepare the documents. It takes about a week, the loan documents. We need those signed. And concurrent with that, those signatures being obtained, which is you agreeing to the conditions, the city, if they're comfortable, they can start printing out the check. And at the time that they've agreed and they've signed and you've signed the documents, I don't know, 2 weeks? It depends on.
It's gonna be pretty quick.
They want to have other.
On that front, then we have to request reimbursement from the state, so, there's a little bit there, but you're gonna get your money from us, right, and then.
Yeah, and then
we
they have to wait
wait.
forever for the state.
That's our problem.
Does that answer your question okay?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I don't want to overstay how, because I don't do your, but we try to turn those docs around pretty fast.
We want to turn it around quick, and
They were
then,
quick.
once we do that, it's
Yeah.
about a week
Yeah,
on
we're
our side,
quick.
2 weeks at the most to actually
I
get
work
the
for
check.
SBDC.
I have a question. The last time you said non-businesses was the last time that you did, what was the amount of the grant last time?
So there was it was about half of this, if I remember right, 500, there's 2, there was a micro business loan program. So for smaller businesses and startups and whatnot, they have their own criteria, there's about 250,000, if I remember right, that was available there. This was total. And then 500,000 on the business loan side.
Okay.
You're right.
So right in there, and there was some money to pay the consultant too out of that, so.
So you're looking to get more than this time?
Yeah, and on those days, because of COVID, the limits were a little higher too, so you can get to 50,000 per job. They pared it back down to 35, so hopefully we actually can fund more businesses and create more jobs with that.
Eric, on a side note, based on the interest of this room, in the future, are there any plans to fill up all the vacant buildings that are in town with some sort of similar possibility to beautify the city with the same type of, like, with dreamers, right? Like,
Yes.
we have this huge idea, we just don't have the means.
That is exactly like the hopes and dreams that we have with this program, is that through this, it can be a catalyst to then fill some of these empty storefronts. And then paired with that is our downtown master plan, in which they're going to identify 3 to 5 projects in the next, say, 3 years that are gonna be feasible for the city that we can do. Part of that is going to be streetscapes in the downtown, creating bump outs, creating landscape, creating the environment that would be even more conducive to make a business successful. Some of the other programs we're looking at in the future, in addition to additional business loan programs, is a facade program. That way we can help those business owners actually make their businesses so they're more conducive to business development. With this downtown master plan, he's talked a lot about the fact that successful downtown is more about the science of it than it is about any sort of art or any one successful business. It's about having the right businesses in the right locations with the right look and the right appeal. So it creates that synergy. So if you can do all those things, you will have a successful downtown. So we're going to have that roadmap. The city wants to be this partner. We want to be part of this, this reason why there's success. And so that's the long answer to the short answer of yes.
You said there's a website for that?
For the downtown plan?
Yeah. What is
So
that?
ccdowntownsplan.com. And then this one is ccbusinessloan.com. So you can kind of get our thought process there. But definitely have the plan piece of it. So ccdowntownsplan.com. And there'll be another public meeting on November 6th for the downtown plan. So there's a survey you can fill out now to talk about what you would like to see in the downtown and thoughts. Those consultants putting that plan together, and then we'll have sort of some of his ideas, what he's heard, and then gather more feedback on November 6th.
Got some more questions, anybody? I guess
have
not.
one more. I think you've covered this, but I just want to be sure. If it's outside of the city limit, as long as it's downward, it's okay.
Yep.
So we actually partnered with the county on it to submit an application that would be conducive to any business in Delaware County.
So when you're looking at that pre-application, take a breath and just be as thorough as you can. It's not that complex. Bridget actually took some stuff out. I wanted in there, but it'll do the job for us. And she does a great job. So, then when we get that, and we're gonna be very diligent in reviewing them. And when we reach out and talk to you, we're gonna work with you on those applications, the full application, and we're gonna respond to any questions you have, because the more you understand what it is we're looking for, the better equipped you are to respond to us, and the faster we can do our job and get to the point where we can do the loan.
This might be a question for Eric. Is there a spot for attachments on the pre-application process? So if there's some people can do pre-work for get their business plans like that to be able to be together, and it's not retyping all of that out into a summary spot on your site.
So I don't think so on the pre-app, right? There's definitely going to be on the application. The pre-app's designed just to get your basic information in so that we know who's ready, who's interested, right? And that we can create this order of businesses to look at first. Right? That was going to be we knew we were going to probably be oversubscribed to this. So we wanted to have a system that was as fair as possible in this. So don't worry about the attachments yet, right? You get in, you get the information in, you get your order, we'll get your attachments.
So on Monday, this is about the application was written.
That's the full application. So that's something to look at to know what's coming in the future. The Monday one's gonna be much simpler. Bridget is actually online, but it looks like she's having audio.
Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. I think it's working.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Bridget Lacey.
Yeah, so there won't be an option for uploading additional documents. It won't be necessary. The purpose of the pre-app is simply to get you in line for the full application. There's not going to be any difficult questions. They're all just very basic eligibility questions. Is your business in Del Norte County? What is your name? Are you creating a job? Those kinds of questions, just to get a timestamp and get your place in line. And then we're going to go out and request the full application and go through that process with you on a more one-on-one basis, because we know some people will need more time than others to complete that. So no, there won't be an upload. It's just a way for us to have a starting point to start working with people.
And that way, with the timestamp and with this process, there's no favoritism over a big business versus a small business, and we always see these timestamps as they come in, and so that's why we chose this particular process. The last one, we had an application period, and all applications came in, and then there was a sort of a random selection, right, that was done by the consultant. This one is much more just front facing, it's just the timestamps don't.
Separate them.
Yes. I promise.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll be, there's three of us that will be doing it and we're all familiar. Just so you know, our experience level, we've done between the three of us, probably 2,500 to 3,000 loans like this over the years. So we know what we're looking.
All right, well. Jeff, is there anything else that you think that we need to go over at this point, or?
No, this has been a great chat. You guys have been great. Thank you for your great questions. Sorry if I cut you off.
No, I apologize I don't mean to sound aggressive either. I was just trying to narrow it down for me.
Yeah,
To see my odds of, you know what I mean, and seeing the odds of who's gonna, succeed, or hopefully everyone succeeds, whoever gets the loan, and that's all we really want, right? That's benefit out of this, as a community.
The other thing is for us to kind of work together on this stuff.
Right.
As a team sort of thing, and then we can set the city up if depending on what the other demands for that CDBG stuff is, maybe, do another app pretty quick and shoot some more.
That would certainly be the hope. We've been successful recently with a lot of CDBG grants, and it sounds like these new rules might favor people that haven't received CDBG grants recently. So they might be implementing the Bridget Lacey rule, where we're not going to be as competitive, but we certainly are still going to.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Now that I'm